Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a great night or a great morning or a great afternoon, depending where you guys are watching this. We got a couple of things to really talk about. There's not much news as far as miners are concerned. We didn't have any earnings releases today, so we'll just get into Bitfarms news. All right, they're adding 100 megawatts. We'll talk about that. And then I thought the story with Wisconsin Pension buying about $100 million of Bitcoin ETFs, I thought that was interesting as well. So we'll talk about that, what that could actually mean for Bitcoin going forward, or price-wise at least. And I think that's it. We'll get into Q&As. We'll call it a day, so it should be pretty easy here. Okay, so as always, you guys know the drill here. This is my full disclosure, not financial advice, for entertainment only. The drill here. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. Now let's take a look at obviously Bitcoin charts and things like that, and see where those things are trending right now. And we can see here that on the network hash rate, it is kind of bouncing up and down a little bit here. It's still right around 587 exahash right now, so it's not that bad. If we look at the 30-day average, this was on 7-day, that's down a little bit here as well to 611 exahash. So we're not seeing a huge decrease, obviously. Bitcoin's holding its price pretty well, and we're just not seeing that huge dip in the network hash rate. But we did get a little bit of a dip, so obviously some older miners did come off here. But we'll see where Bitcoin goes and what it does to the hash rate and hash price too. Looking at the Bitcoin fees per day, we are still, right around the 22, 21, 25 range, something like that. We're at 22 right now, BTC per day. So that's not a lot there. Obviously, it's nowhere near what we had here, which was 853 BTC right after the halving event. So we're probably not going to see that unless we get a large influx into like runes and ordinals and all that stuff. And then here's the network hash, not network hash, the Bitcoin hash price for the miners. You can see it obviously follows Bitcoin price. Bitcoin goes up, the hash price also goes up as well. Bitcoin came down over today a little bit, so obviously that came down to about 48.95, so about $49 per petahash per day on that one. So that's obviously not great for the miners. We need obviously Bitcoin price to go up much higher from here in order to make the miners stocks prices pump and everything else that we really want to see. Okay, so that's it for those. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here today. Bitcoin obviously pretty much, we've seen this before here. We had a nice day yesterday, and it just basically gave up all those gains that we saw the day before on Monday. So it was obviously down a bit today. It was down 2.21%. It's up a little bit here on the new day. I drew in these lines here, this, what do they call it, pennant, to see if maybe we can stay within these lines here with the orange lines, and maybe we can finally maybe break above them here. So maybe in the next couple of days that might happen. If that happens, we'll see. We'll see if this holds or not. I'm not great at charts, so we're just going to test it out, see if it works out that way on that. But you can see obviously Bitcoin's right now at 61,819. We're up a little bit, 0.45%. Miners didn't have a great day today. Everybody was pretty much down except for a couple. Annie was up 8.31%. I think Annie reported their quarterly results today. So did another miner that was on the smaller side here. I can't remember who. But we'll take a look at those things maybe towards the end of the month. I'll do a whole show on just the small miners, the 6 miners that are in there. And we'll do like a 1-hour show on that to just kind of go through all those at once. But other than that, everybody was pretty much down. A couple were up, like I said. BitDigital was up. Bitfarms was up a little bit here today. IREN was up. Marathon was up. Riot was up. Stronghold was up as well. So that's kind of it on it. Okay, so let's get into the stories that we do have here, and we're going to call it a day. So I thought this was actually really exciting news here. So state of Wisconsin buys nearly 100 million worth of BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETFs. Right, we're thinking this is going to happen eventually, but I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. I don't think anybody really thought that pensions are going to be buying spot Bitcoin ETFs like right away. We thought maybe down the road, maybe in the next, 6 to 12, maybe 18 months, something like that would happen. But we're obviously seeing a lot of adoption happening here with Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs as well. That should, as this progresses and we see other entrants into this as well, other pension funds and things like that, they're going to be the ones really driving the price up much higher going forward. But here's what we do have. The U.S. state of Wisconsin purchased 94,562 shares of BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, IBIT. In the first quarter of the year, a filing shows the shares are worth nearly 100 million. So depending when they bought it, if they bought in the first quarter, they buy it, right after the spot Bitcoin ETFs went public. If they did, they're probably up quite nicely. If we do the math on it here, if we do, let's see, what is it, 94,562, it's probably worth it right now. But if they bought it back then when the price was around 48,000, what would there be at? So let me pull my calculator here on my phone. And we'll do this 94,562 times, let's just do 48,000. So let's say they bought it at 48,000. At that point, let's see. Oh, that's shares of BlackRock. So it's, oh, never mind. I have to go back and look to see what shares of BlackRock were trading at when it went live, basically. So that's not going to work. Never mind. My bad on that one. But here's what we have. Wisconsin, which filed its quarterly 13F report with the Securities and Exchange Commission on Tuesday, is the first state to disclose the purchase of Bitcoin. The investment board also purchased shares of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust GBTC worth roughly $64 million. All right, so they're kind of diversifying there a little bit. And here it is. Here's obviously what most of us were actually thinking. Normally, you don't get to these big fish institutions in the 13Fs for a year or so when the ETFs get more liquidity. But as we've seen, these are no ordinary launches. Bloomberg Intelligence senior ETF analyst Eric B. wrote in a post on X, "Good sign, expect more as institutions tend to move in herds." So this could actually be really good news for us. Right, and that goes into a little bit more here as far as everything in the fund, that they have more than 156 billion in assets, right? So they only put in a little bit. What would they be like? Maybe 1%, not even that. If they had 100 billion, 100 million would be basically 1% at that point. So 1.5%, something like that. Maybe they did put in 1% into it, and they're up, already 50% on it or something like that. So this is obviously good news, right? This is something that we want to see going forward with pension funds getting into it. We want to see mom and pop shops that are investment firms getting into it, right? We want to get this kind of adoption curve happening here with institutions, small shops, things like that, that are going to recommend to investors to potentially put in 1 to 5% of the portfolio potentially into Bitcoin going forward. So I think we're still very early here, as I keep saying here, and it's just going to take a little time, I think. But we're definitely very early. So I'm not worried about this stuff here. I'm actually really happy to see this, and I think this is very bullish for Bitcoin going forward as well. Okay, and then onto the big news that we have here. Finally got some good news from Bitfarms. As you guys know, we've had some bad news. Obviously, yesterday, they fired the CEO. They postponed their quarterly results as well until Wednesday, tomorrow. And then we get this news today, so it's actually pretty good news here on this because it does mean growth. And growth is something that we are obviously looking forward to. So Bitfarms doubles, I'm going to be able to not pronounce this, Yaguza power capacity to 200 megawatt with additional 100 megawatt of hydropower in Paraguay. So this is great news. So Bitfarms secured an additional 100 megawatt at its Yaguza site through an amendment to the existing 100 megawatt power purchase agreement with the Paraguay state-owned utility ANDI. This amendment doubles capacity at this site to 200 megawatts with scheduled deployments for 2025. This sustainable hydropower will be provided at a contractual low cost of approximately 3.9 cents per kilowatt. That's very good. Before VAT, that's their tax, with the added benefit of not being subject to annual inflationary adjustments. That's great news. Right. Like I said, we've had obviously a bunch of bad news from them. We've had obviously some lawmakers in Paraguay saying that they would put a ban on Bitcoin mining. Right. That was obviously something that wasn't taken very well by shareholders, and a little fear out there, FUD. But now we have this news. This is, I think, is really good. Also, construction at the Yaguza began in March with the signed purchase agreement for major long lead equipment and significant contracts, including the engineering, procurement, and construction contract for the high voltage interconnection to the ANDI substation and transmission line. Changes to construction plans and equipment orders to accommodate the incremental 100 megawatts are already underway. So that's great news there. So it looks like it's possibly going to be like in the first half of 2025. The additional 100 megawatt provides a low-cost growth path for the first half of 2025 without impacting our 2024-21 exahash target, which remains on schedule, said Ben Gagnon. Right. So that is all good news here for Bitfarms, and obviously the stock did a little bit better today. It was up a little bit, but not as much as we would want it to be. I would have liked them to have maybe put in something about getting to the 10 exahash in May, and then the 12 exahash in June. See where they are in the progress on that. But we probably may have to wait until tomorrow's earnings call. Potentially, we might get that information. We just don't know. But this is more of what we need. We need more good news out of Bitfarms than we have been getting recently. And if we continue to get some good news out of them, I think that will obviously help the stock price because it will also build some confidence in the shareholders and potential investors that want to get into the stock. And it's just one of those things where good news really does help the stock, right? All we've had recently in the last couple of months is a bunch of bad news from them. So I'm not expecting too much as far as earnings to go tomorrow from them. They increased. We'll take a look at that, see if I have this one up. I don't have my sheets up. So we won't even take a look at that, but I think we looked at that yesterday, and I didn't see much of revenue growth there. So unless they really cut their costs and things like that, they did get, what was it, like 20 some odd million in tax credits back or something like that. That might help them out. So that might actually be a positive there, where they will get a little bit of a maybe positive EPS, but I'm not counting on it. All right, so that is it. Let's get into the Q&A side of things, and we'll call it a day. So here we go, Q&A. Always, questions are delayed by about 15-20 seconds from you guys. So give it a little time. I will get through all your guys' questions if you guys have any. Let's see if I got any questions. We just got some comments right now. So tomorrow is going to be an interesting day with reporting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. Let's see. I buy Bitfarms every day, gobble them up like they were Flintstone vitamins in 1987. I remember taking those. Let's see here. Wish I had more powder. Yeah, we all do. Love Bitfarms. Hi, Sebastian. Hi. Doesn't look like you guys have any questions here, so this might be pretty easy. And there's not much going on, so I don't blame you guys if you guys don't have any questions. We covered a lot of the stuff yesterday as well. The only thing I'm going to add here, maybe just for a little bit, is some of you guys are asking about the chapters in these live shows. Obviously, when I'm doing live, you're not going to get the chapters. But I am putting them in, but I made a mistake. I didn't put the 0, the 2 dots, and then 00 intro in the beginning of those chapters. I will fix those in the previous videos that I do have, and then going forward, I will put those in it as well. So I think hopefully that will fix the chapters showing up on these videos that have been recorded. And then afterwards, putting them in. Hopefully that fixes it, but we'll see. Let's see. Mr. Robinson asks, are you considering doing some DCA and CORZ? I'm thinking about it. Like I've told you guys in yesterday's video, prior videos, I have to pay my property taxes this month, so I'm hoarding cash right now. So once that's done, I will start maybe. I still want to get more into IREN, depending where Bitfarms goes. I may want to get into them, and then obviously CORZ would be another one that for me would be kind of like a potentially high risk, high reward, right? I mean, there's risk to all these miners, but I think CORZ is a little bit more high risk, but they're definitely way undervalued from where they should be. So we'll have to see going forward how I can reallocate the cash that I do have for all these miners that I want to get. Let's see. Let's see. Richard Stamp asks, did you get the link I sent regarding Mara deal with Kenya? Did you put it in the comments? If you did, I will take a look at the comments again. I didn't see it there, but I'll double check again. And I probably should write that down for myself because I will forget by the time I'm done with this video. Let me see here. Bear with me while I write this down. Check comments for Mara link. Mara link. Okay. Because I will forget. Get too much stuff on my mind. Okay. Hoping they release some news about their CEO issues tomorrow along with good earnings. Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. I don't know if we're going to hear anything about the CEO issues. They're going to probably keep it pretty private, especially since their CEO, their old CEO, is suing them, right? So that might be under that. What price targets do you have for Wolf, say 6 months from now? They got to pay down their debt, right? That's one of the things there. And then also they need to grow. And they did purchase, was it 5,000 miners here recently? I got that into my sheet as well. And then they also have the option to purchase an additional 30,000 machines. That would give another 6 exahash on top of that. Don't know when those are going to be coming in, though. We didn't get any information on it. So that's a big thing for them is, can they grow this year still and pay off their debt, which I think they can. The growth part of it is going to be a little bit more trickier, right? Because they're using a lot of cash and dilution to pay down the debt as well. So we'll have to see on it. So what would be my price targets for them? Where are they at right now? Let me take a look. Wolf is at $2.04. So if Bitcoin goes up 200,000, we could possibly see them at around $3, $4, if not maybe a little bit higher than that. If they can obviously add a little growth there as well, that would kind of where I would see them at least right now. Let's see here. Where are the anxiety reactions similar last year when the miners went long periods without moving up from declines? Cleanspark did that for months. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing kind of the same thing here. We did it twice last year, I think we did it. We did it after the rally that we had in the beginning of the year, right into the summer. I think we went sideways for a little bit, and miners went down, and then we went up again. Miners went down again after that, and then we finally went back up, and then the miners came back down again. So yeah, we've seen this before. It's just one of those extended period of time where it could be like a good accumulation phase for Bitcoin, miners as well, right? When those things happen. Hey, Seb, do you see Cleanspark coming down to $12 waiting for a good DC opportunity? I don't know about that, man. Wow. Depending where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin goes down, we could probably see that. If Bitcoin, like on my chart here, if I'm thinking this might work out this way, let me see here. It's over here. So if we look at the chart here, I drew this little triangle here, potentially hitting the bottoms here, kind of where the tops have been. If this breaks above that, we might not be coming down, obviously, in price on Cleanspark. But if we break below it, I think we might be coming back down to like the 57,000 range. And at that point, we might come down to the $12 range on Cleanspark. That wouldn't be too far off from the 13 it's at right now. And then that would be basically from the top to the bottom. We're looking at to 13, something would be approximately 47%. That'd be a pretty steep decline from where it was at the top of it. So it's possible, but I don't know if we're going to get there, right? So maybe put in a small portion into it. Well, it's at these prices or a little bit lower. Then see if you can get into it a little bit lower at that point, because we just don't know where it's going to go. Let's see. Question. Did you see the story about BTC mining facilities in Wyoming near a nuclear missile base had a Chinese ties? I wonder if that was the same one from Cleanspark purchased. I don't know if this is the same one, but yeah, I heard about that, where they're basically telling that they can't have that site or they can't buy it or something like that. So that might be one that maybe Cleanspark would be looking into. But I did hear about that, so that was kind of interesting, right? I mean, obviously you don't want Chinese-owned land next to your missile silo, so that kind of makes sense because you can spy on those things. So that's obviously security risk there for the government, so I get that. And he's asking here either that or a reason why Cleanspark was able to go buy. Yeah, I don't know if they were able to buy that. I don't even know if it's the same site. Maybe I'll reach out to Cleanspark to see what they have to say on that. If they did buy that site, that'd be kind of cool. Right next to a missile silo. Let's see here. What else here? Mark thinks $13 for Cleanspark could be in play. Could be, right? It all depends where Bitcoin goes, I think. Bitcoin still trades sideways for a while. And, you know, miners could pull back a little bit more even then. So it's all possible. But we'll have to see where it goes. Okay. I think that is it for the questions. So tomorrow's Wednesday. Tomorrow we got Bitfarms reporting. Who else is reporting tomorrow? I think, is it Hut that's reporting tomorrow? Somebody else. I think there's somebody else that's reporting tomorrow. But we still have a couple of miners that need to report their quarterly results. Obviously, when they do, then we'll get into the metrics on those guys for the quarterly results, see which ones had the best quarter based on a multitude of metrics, right? Growth, operations. We'll also look at cash or balance sheet. We'll look at basically financials side of things as well on that. But that'll be coming out later on. Let's see here. IREN is also, looks like Bitfarms and IREN are reporting tomorrow. Okay, so perfect. We got one more question here coming up. Let me pop that up. Let's see it. Hey, special price. What's your price targets again for Bitfarms and Riot? Would it be a more conservative after all the turmoil in Bitfarms recently? Would be a bit more conservative after all the turmoil in Bitfarms recently? Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of turmoil, but they're also kind of way undervalued from where they really should be. As far as my price targets for Bitfarms, depending on what period we're looking at, by the end of the year, I'm thinking Bitfarms should be at least, you know, Bitcoin goes to 100,000. We're looking possibly Bitfarms being at 4 to 5x from where it's possibly should be right now. If they can get to obviously 21 exahash by the end of the year as well, that should help that. That's just conservative numbers there. Riot, same thing. If they can fix their operations, install machines that they want to get in Corsicana, they should be definitely at least 2 to 3x, if not 4x from where they are right now. Right? They're going to be at 31 exahash by the end of the year. So if they can do that, and they can also have much better uptime at that facility, that should help the stock tremendously, I think, going forward. Let's see. Okay, and Mark's saying IREN is reporting after hours. So cool. Let's see. Oh, you guys are talking about Wolf here. Paul sold 50% of his shares over the past 12 months. For Chris, 42 million with the leadership team over the same period, selling net negative 24 million shares. I heard something about where Paul's shares were being sold and they were being put into something investment or something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it because I don't really know the details of it, but I know it's something to do with, I think Paul invested a lot in the company. I think he even loaned the company loaned them the money on it. So it's interesting on that side of things. And I think Bryce and Anthony are going to have him on, I think Friday, possibly, that they're going to do the video with them. So maybe we'll get some information on that at that point. Let's see. What price would you consider entering Riot? Thanks again. What price? I wouldn't enter it now. I would need to see like Riot actually do much better going forward with their operations, uptime, things like that. That's one of my things that I always try to look for in miners is uptime, efficiencies, operations, right? Track record of doing well, things like that. And they haven't had that recently. So for that reason, I haven't invested in Riot. If I had more cash, right? My cash is sparse, what I could invest in the miners. So I've been trying to do it based on the metrics that I look at, growth, things like that. But if I had more abundance of cash, I would probably be invested in Riot, Marathon as well. I'd be invested probably in CORZ than I am right now, BU and Wolf, Cypher as well, because you just never know which one of these are going to do really well. I'm trying to pick the ones that I think are going to do well based on fundamentals of the companies, their track records, their growth, things like that. And that's kind of, got to be smart about where I deploy my capital, I guess you could say. But that's kind of worked out so far. Yeah. Oh, there. Nope. Sorry. There. Where was it? Just missed it. Okay. Here you go. CEO Wolf didn't sell. Disposed. Disposed of. Transferred into a trust controlled by CEO. Not sold. Read the. Yeah. So there you go. I knew it was something strange. Well, not strange, but more details to it than just them selling. Yeah. Disposed of. Transfer equals transferred into trust controlled by the CEO. Yeah. Not sold. Let's see. After this cycle, are you planning to continue this channel Patreon? Yeah, I think I am. If we get another, I would love it if we get another cycle, right? My thought process is, or at least my little concern that I do have on this, is that because of the spot Bitcoin ETFs and everything else, we may not have that big of a drop in Bitcoin price going forward, right? Are we going to see the same thing happening where we saw with gold, where at that point gold went up for several years, and right now we're just in unknown, uncharted territory with Bitcoin and Bitcoin price right now. So I would love it if we do. But the plan right now is to continue to do this. I've pretty much streamlined my process as best I can as far as covering the miners in the space where it doesn't take me a lot of time, right? Usually I do the research on the miners, put in my numbers and things like that, and then I just go live with it with you guys. And that saves me so much time because I'm not recording it. I'm not then transcribing it or not transcribing transcoding it right into a format that YouTube likes and all that stuff. So I'm saving a lot of time there as well. So this has definitely gotten a lot more efficient, right? I'm looking at efficiencies in miners. I'm trying to be efficient in my own operations here as well. So I think going forward, I don't see why I shouldn't do this unless something really drastic changes in my life or something like that. But I don't see that happening, at least not yet. Sebastian, I've been in Bitfarms since 2001, DCA 3 years with all the FUD about the Latin America board. This is the first time I've actually been worried that we won't run up to 8 USD. Your thoughts? I'm not really, there's some FUD obviously being spread by Mike Alfred on the board. We just don't know that. We're obviously on the outside. He might have some inside information that we don't know. But if they can execute on the 21 exahash growth this year, and then possibly, add another 100 megawatts next year in the first half, and then potentially even more, I think that's a good catalyst for the price of the stock to go up further. We need to obviously get a CEO in that position as fast as possible, get rid of that FUD, and then we need to see them actually get to 10 exahash this month, or close to that, if not, and then 12 exahash next month, right? If they can do those things, right, it's one of those things where it's trust but verify in the miners, and if they can do those things, I think the investors will start taking notice of them, I think, right? And Bitcoin goes up in value as well. At that point, the stocks should do much better. And I've been dollar cost averaging into Bitfarms as well from January of 2022. So I'm with you pretty much long as you have been. Which one should I pick? Bitfarms or IREN for the best price action in today's terms, assets, electricity costs, debt, etc. I mean, they're neck and neck right now as far as being undervalued, pretty close to it. I think maybe Bitfarms now, with the recent FUD that it's had, it's a little bit more undervalued. The good thing with IREN, they have plenty of infrastructure to build out. They have 1 gigawatt there at the facility, Childress, I think, or maybe it's like 750. I can't remember. It's like, I know they have like pathway to get to like 2 gigawatts of power potentially. So they have a roadmap for a long time to build out. Okay, so that's good there. They don't hodl anything. That could be a little bit of negative there. And they have started recently providing us with quarterly results as well. That's great news there. So it's a toss-up. I mean, you could go either way on it. I like both of them. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think that's it. We're done with questions, you guys. I don't see anything else popping up here that's new. We'll call it a day. And then, like I said, tomorrow we'll have obviously IREN, Bitfarms to report on as well. I think that's going to be fun. Well, it'll be interesting to see because one doesn't hodl. One does hodl, but the one that does hodl can't use the FASB rules anyways to add it to the revenue side of things for the Bitcoin hodl. So we'll see which one was actually able to squeak out a EPS positive for the quarter. And it's going to be close. I think they both can do it. Like I said before, Bitfarms has that 20-some million credit they got back for taxes. That should help them out there. And IREN actually grew really nicely. Their revenues went up quite nicely as well. So I think that's going to help there as well. Okay. So that is it. Let me see here. There's one last. Okay. Just reading a comment here. But that's it. Thank you so much for coming in, guys. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great day. And hopefully Bitcoin continues to go up. We're all hoping for that. Okay? But have a great night. Bye.